Okay, I'm so beyond excited for this. I am here talking to the amazing Paris Hilton. Hi, Paris. Thank you for taking the time. So
Thank
you have
you.
your new book out, Paris, the memoir, and I've read it, and it is heartbreaking, inspiring, funny, interesting, relatable, and also otherworldly all in one. It's been one of the best reads ever. I
Thank you.
also have ADHD, so the structure of it has been really almost soothing for me to read. You go on tangents, you make lists, you give us a recipe for your Waldorf salad. It's incredible. And in the prologue, you say, "If I'm going to love my life, I have to love my ADHD." And I wanted to know what have been the hardest parts of your ADHD to love, and what have been the easiest.
The hardest part's definitely growing up in high school and not knowing why I couldn't keep concentration and getting bad grades.
Mm.
And now, just with losing my phone or my house keys or car keys. But the good parts about it outweigh the bad. I feel that it's a superpower in ways where I think outside of the box. I feel like my whole career I've really been about forward thinking and taking risks.
Mhm.
And that's why I think that I've always been innovative and a pioneer.
Yeah, because you were the first influencer. You were basically the first person to make a celebrity dog a thing. Like you one of the first celebrities on NFTs. You have catchphrases that everyone knows. Like you are an absolute icon in more ways than just from the simple life. Like you've evolved into a real icon in many ways. And you're admired by so many. And I think that yeah, you've really been able to harness your ADHD as a real power. And it's so inspiring. In the book, you also speak about Pink and her song "Stupid Girls." And how in the video clip you're kind of poked fun at for the unconsensual release of your sex tape and also for being what she considers vain and quote unquote acting dumb. And I think that now, almost 20 years on, there's a change in the narrative around not only your sex tape being released unconsensually, but also around that sort of pick me behavior and that internalized misogyny. How do you feel about that kind of change in perspective that the world is coming to?
I feel like it's definitely time for change, and I've seen so much change. And I love Pink. I think that her music is amazing. She's always been kind to me.
Mm.
But, that video did hurt my feelings, the music video. But that was so long ago. But I'm just happy that times are finally changing and people are just seeing just how women shouldn't be treated that way with the way I was treated by the media.
Yeah, of course. Because I was in grade 6 when that came out. I was quite young. I didn't understand. Didn't fully grasp it, and I think that it kind of warped our perspective of uh, women in media. And I think it kind of really takes a lot to come back from that. Um, so you speak about your incredible mum, Kathy Hilton. I'm a huge Housewives fan, so I am in love with Kathy, hunky dory queen. But obviously, in the book, I love the themes of you talking about how much you love your family and your mum and how funny and light she is, but also being real and open about the hurt that you've been through, and even things like your family going to live in New York without you, and also sending you to the troubled teens quote unquote facility, CEDU. Um, I'm wondering if you have any advice for forgiving family members that have really, really hurt you, because I think it's incredible that you're able to do that.
I know it wasn't my family's fault. I was a
Mm.
rebellious teenager. I was sneaking out. I was getting bad grades. They got advice from someone to send me to a boarding school. They thought it was going to be a safe place. These places have such deceptive marketing with these brochures with kids smiling and riding horses, and it looks like it's going to be this really happy, safe place. So my parents had no idea what was happening behind closed doors, and I couldn't
Mm.
even tell them when I was in there because anytime I tried, there would be staff members next to me and they would immediately hang up the phone and then take away my phone privileges and tell my parents that I was lying. So I think
Mm.
that's how these places have gotten away with it for so long because they train and brainwash the parents into thinking the kids are lying so they can get away with basically anything because who's going to believe
Mm.
your kid who's been sneaking out and lying to you?
Let's talk about CEDU for a second. So you've endured at this troubled teen facility. For those of you listening who don't know, um, Paris was basically kidnapped and taken to this troubled teen facility because she was being quote unquote rebellious. And the behavior that you described didn't really, I mean, I didn't think it was particularly awful. I don't know if I'm just also rebellious, but I'm not really sure. But
It's something
uh,
that every
I think
teenager goes through. Every
yeah, right.
teenager freaks out and all. Yes, yeah. My parents are really strict.
Yeah, of course. But I think it's very clear for me, especially having ADHD, the connection between being a bit naughty and being undiagnosed and being untreated and going to these facilities. And later in the book, you say that you think most of the kids there probably had undiagnosed ADHD. If you had been diagnosed earlier, how different do you think things would have turned out for you?
I think things would have turned out very differently for me. I think it's so important to be diagnosed with that at a younger age so you understand and you can be medicated or something because I had no idea until I was 20. So I think now, and back then, no one was really talking about it. People are talking about it more and more now, and that's another reason I talked about it in the book because I think there's such a stigma behind it and people don't really understand it. And I think it's important for people to know that you can go through a lot of things in life and still make something really amazing out of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, once I got diagnosed, like under a year ago, all of that, it isn't just about getting treatment, it's also about the shame that comes with thinking, what's wrong with me? Then once you know there's something different about your brain or how your brain works, it alleviates that guilt.
Very true.
So it sounds like you found the perfect partner in Carter. There are so many instances in the book where you speak about how he compliments you, and particularly with support with your ADHD. What does he offer that previous partners haven't?
He's just my home. He's a safe place. He is so kind, so supportive. He lifts me up in ways that no man ever has. And I trust him with my life. He's my best friend. And he's just such a good, kind person with amazing family values.
Oh, it's incredible. My last question is at the end of the book, you speak about hopefully having a son soon. You say we plan to call him Phoenix, and Phoenix is now here. So, as a parent now, and as someone who's unfortunately gone through these troubled teen facilities and had ADHD and been rebellious, what do you see as the best option for parents who have children who maybe are rebelling? What advice would you give them?
My advice is to talk with them and let them know that you can talk about anything with them and for them not to be afraid and just to be open with your kids. And I think not to be so strict because I think when you are very strict, it makes your child rebel. But if they feel comfortable enough to tell you anything, I feel like they won't rebel as much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Paris. The book is absolutely incredible. I really, really value it. And I'm so glad that it's out there with such a clear perspective on ADHD. So thank you so much for writing it.
Thank you, honey.